everyone, and welcome to episode 87 of Own the Road with AutoTrader, where we make car stuff simple for Canadians. My name is Jodi Lai, and I'm the editor-in-chief of AutoTrader.
And I'm Sébastien Bell. I'm the associate editor at AutoTrader, and I remember to introduce myself that time.
I'm really proud of you. You've come such a long way, Seb.
Thank you. It's always good to get positive feedback, and I'll take any I can get.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Dan is on vacation this week. I hope he's enjoying his vacation. He said he was going to go mountain biking every single day this week, which is super ambitious.
Classic Dan.
Dan, though.
Yeah, he's the guy who hadn't biked for all winter and then went on a 90-kilometer bike ride.
Just casually.
Just casual, yeah. Whatever. That was on Easter or something like that? Anyway.
Yeah, he just casually did like an 80-kilometer ride. Sometimes he'll just be like, yeah, I just ran a little 10K today. No big deal.
The man is a machine.
And I'm like in front of the couch just like snacking nonstop.
Hey, that's also enjoyable.
It's for my mental health,
exactly.
Really. That's how I justify it.
That's amazing. That sounds awesome.
So today we are going to be talking about cars that are being discontinued this year. And we kind of do this episode every single year because every single year there's a new fresh crop of cars that will disappear. Yeah. And there's a lot of different reasons why cars get discontinued.
Totally.
Number one is likely, slow or dwindling sales.
Absolutely.
These models may not be as profitable for automakers as they once were.
And that's been taking out a lot of the passenger vehicle, like the sedans and hatchbacks. That's been what's been sort of taking a lot of them off the road.
Yeah, and so we did an episode a while back called Where Did All the Cheap Cars Go?
Totally.
And we discussed that at length.
Yes.
And it's been an issue that's really been bothering us for a long time.
Well, especially now when affordability is such a huge concern. In 2024, our own price index suggested that people were on the hunt for affordable vehicles. So the fact that they're dwindling away is kind of alarming. And I think when we're looking at this, it will continue to be alarming.
Yeah, I know. And the price index also said that searches for cars that are specifically under 30 grand have gone up in this year, obviously, right? Because everything is so expensive. Everyone's struggling. The economy is kind of tanking. So it's, not a great time if you're a car shopper right now. But we like to go through these lists of all the vehicles that will be discontinued. So you as a consumer can know, if you were looking to buy one, this is kind of your last chance to get one of these. We also wanted to clear up some misinformation about, reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated because a lot of these vehicles will not be discontinued, even though we thought they were going to be earlier this year.
I did like looking through your notes and seeing fake news about one of them. So I'm interested to get to that one.
We love dispelling misinformation on the Own the Road podcast.
Totally.
So that's really important. What are some other reasons that certain vehicles might get discontinued other than slow sales?
Well, this year has been a big year for electrification. And I think that's going to be a really interesting one to dig through because a lot of automakers. So in order to make a new car, it takes a very long time. So you have to sort of make decisions sometimes more than 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, remember, everybody was really bullish on electric vehicles. And now a lot of those vehicles are coming out. So you're getting to see a lot of internal combustion vehicles that are getting discontinued because there's an EV coming through. But as we're going to see, the interest is sort of not as strong as they predicted at the time. So there are some cases like the Volvo XC60 and the 90 that have been sort of gotten a new lease on life because the EVs that have come through may be great and, are awesome, but maybe won't get as many sales as the automakers were hoping for.
Yeah, and so the other thing we're seeing is that last year when we did this episode, a lot of, gas-powered vehicles were being discontinued to make room for electric vehicles. Now that, like you've said, the interest for EVs has kind of dipped once the incentives kind of disappeared, and the affordability thing, of course. Now a lot of automakers are scaling back their plans for EVs.
Totally.
So now we're seeing, weirdly, a lot of EVs being discontinued and gas ones living on. So that's kind of like a flip of the script from last year, which is so interesting.
Yeah. Automakers have to be light on their feet. There's a lot of changing things, and they're sort of going back and forth. They seem to, in a lot of cases, be reacting and their plans seem to be sort of they don't know what's happening next.
Yeah, especially because the dip in EV interest that we're seeing in Canada is happening kind of like worldwide, like it's happening in Europe, in the US, everywhere, and like the whole tariff situation doesn't simplify things at all.
No.
So this is where get ready for like another year of very tumultuous automotive news.
Totally.
We still don't know what's going on.
Interestingly, I do think that the sort of historical trend of sedans being discontinued is like not as much of a factor this year. It seems like most of the sedans that were, or hatchbacks or whatever, like lower cars that were doing poorly have been discontinued more or less. And now it's sort of like readjusting, with one notable exception, the Acura TLX, which is the first car on our list.
Right. And so the Acura TLX is an interesting one because like we're never surprised when a sedan gets discontinued.
No.
But what is the most sad to me about this is that it also means that the Type S is gone.
Which I have the quote here. Hold on. Jeff Wilson, when he was reviewing it, said that it rekindled his love of driving when he reviewed it for us. He really loved it.
And that's really big praise coming from him because he is a performance car, like diehard fan.
Absolutely.
You know, he's owned a lot. He gets to test drive a lot.
Very good driver.
And another one of our contributors, Chris Soyce, also said that the TLX Type S is his prediction to be a future classic.
Totally, and I can definitely see why. It looks really good. I thought that since so the second generation model was released in 2021, and since then I've always thought it was a really good looking car, especially in Type S trim.
It looks great in Type S, but also people love driving it, and I think it was wildly underrated as a vehicle.
Totally,
but interestingly enough, because it wasn't so popular when it was new, that makes it an even better contender to be a future classic because that means not a lot of people bought it, which is bad for Acura, but good for you later on if you did buy one.
And good for the owners who did end up getting one because, like, you know, maybe when you go to sell it, it'll be worth more than you expect.
Yeah, maybe it is one of those rare vehicles that is an appreciating asset instead of a depreciating one. But we'll let time decide.
We'll let time decide. But yeah, this one seems to be just a victim of poor sales. The sales peaked in 2005 when it was known as the TL, and back then they were selling 78,000 units a year in the US. But by 2024, sales were down to 7,400 in the US. And in Canada...
840?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Sorry, I bolded it. It looked like a title. Yes. Last year, in the first half of this year, they sold just 840 units. And compare that to the MDX and the RDX, and they sell like 20,000, 18,000. So, like, the sales are doing pretty badly. And
right.
I guess it just made sense to say goodbye to it.
I mean, interestingly enough, so because there are so few new sedans left on the new car market, searches for used sedans, according to the price index, has gone up.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason why, so Barish Akurak, who is our resident VP of Insights and Intelligence, kind of a genius, he was telling me that because of the affordability issues, a lot more people are looking for used sedans because they're just more efficient, and they were typically a lot cheaper than buying a used SUV. But now, because the demand is so high, the prices for used sedans are actually going up.
Totally, and that's always been one of the appeals of a crossover, is that they cost similar amount to make as a sedan, but because there's more space and because there's a sort of perception of them being a more premium and just more popular thing in the marketplace, automakers can charge more for them and they're more profitable, which is like makes a lot of sense when the economy is running well. But when the economy is contracting a little bit and people are focused on affordability, all of a sudden sedans start looking like just a better deal for buyers.
Yeah, which I love to see. I want to see more sedans come back.
Totally. Yeah, me too. I love a sedan.
The next one on our list is the BMW M8 Coupe, which, again, not surprised that this is being discontinued.
No.
I love a big dumb coupe, and the M8 is a big dumb coupe, and I do enjoy driving it, but also not surprised to see it being discontinued.
No, it looks really good, and, you know, big, powerful coupe, very luxurious, but the Grand Coupe, which is the four-door version, and the convertible, which is the two-door convertible, will be staying. But yeah, just again, looks like sales weren't that great, which is surprising because M sales have been really good. They've had record-selling years for the past in 2023 and 2024, and it also might not be a sedan thing, which is, I think, the most interesting thing about BMW is that last year in North America, their sales between cars and crossovers were more or less the same.
Even when it comes down to M models?
No, this is BMW wide. But BMW wide, they sold 43,619 cars in North America, and they sold 43,900 crossovers in North America. So like within a couple hundred, they sold more or less.
That's pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting because it's sort of upending the sort of dynamic of like all sedans are doing poorly.
Right.
If apparently BMW is doing something right. And we were sort of talking about this yesterday, and I'm not really sure like what their secret sauce is, because I understand that the 3 Series is sort of like the legendary BMW. So it makes sense that that's doing well. But like across their whole lineup, like the 5 Series seems to be doing well. And like, you know, they have a lot of really good crossovers too, like the X2 and the X3. But one crossover that isn't quite as good is the X4, which is being discontinued next year.
So it's interesting to see a crossover on this list, but I never see X4s out in the wild, so I have to assume that they're not that popular. But you have sales numbers here, right?
Yeah, so I couldn't get Canadian sales numbers, but I did get global sales numbers. So between the X3 and the X4, sales amounted to around 405,000. And of those, 350,000 were X3s. So like the X4 is doing much worse than the X5. But that's still 55,000 like sort of ish sales globally. So it's not doing like some people are interested in it. But one of the sort of theories that I heard attached to it was that the fact that the X2, first of all, looks good and is also sort of going a little bit more upmarket, is sort of doing very well, meant that they didn't really need the X4 anymore.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems with BMW's lineup, their SUV lineup, is that for every regular SUV they also have like a coupe version, which is, you know, has that sloping roofline, and it's less practical, but also more expensive than the regular non-coupe version.
Totally, and for automakers, it costs more to make a different body style.
Right.
So if they think that they can retain all of the customers that they would lose they're like giving up on the X4 by either pushing them into an X3 or an X2, then like it might just, from a bottom line perspective, make sense to just be like, well, it wasn't a huge hit.
I think so. And I think sometimes when consumers are faced with like so many options, they get frozen. They like don't know what to do.
Totally.
So by simplifying a lineup, I think it will help make things a lot easier for consumers and also, you know, people at the dealership. Like how do you sell someone on an X4 that is, you know,
less practical
and more expensive.
I mean, yeah, it seems to be working for the X6 for some reason, but maybe that's just big enough. Anyway,
I feel like the X6 is a special case because it is like so outlandish, and it lives in that like love it or hate it kind of category of luxury vehicles.
Fair enough.
And they have like an M version that's, I think, even more popular than the regular X6.
Yes.
That's just a guess, but I see a lot of them.
I do see a lot of them too. And you know what? Honestly, I do think it looks pretty good. I am one of the few automotive journalists who kind of thinks that coupe SUVs look fine. I think that it's like, they look cool. I think that they make as much sense as a coupe like car because like, I don't know, who cares? How often do people really fill their X5 all the way to the roof rails?
And I drove an X6 last year, and it was really good.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't love the way it looked, but I didn't hate it. I think it was growing on me. And I liked the way it drove. It was a really great crossover.
Okay.
And for some reason, that was a controversial opinion. I don't think it should be, but
people get really upset about coupe SUVs because they're like, I think they're like combining two different, like they're like, they have one foot in the car world and one foot in the SUV world.
Well, sometimes they're really ugly. Like just sometimes, like Mercedes ones, I really don't like the look of. You love them, don't you?
I don't love them, but I don't hate them.
Okay.
I will say that I think Infiniti's coupe SUVs look pretty good.
They look great.
I agree. But we'll get to that later.
Okay.
For now, we're moving on to the Cadillac XT4, which was introduced in 2018. So that makes sense that it's just sort of like at the end of its life cycle. But I think it's interesting that it was facelifted last year in 2024. So that feels like a pretty recent facelift to just sort of be like abandoning it.
Yeah, so that kind of tells me this was not really planned for, because they wouldn't have put all of the R&D into that facelift if they knew it was going to live on a couple more, or if they knew it was going to be discontinued this year, right?
Totally. What I find interesting also is that sales have been pretty stable. They've been hovering at around 22,000 sales in the US for the past couple years, and they haven't really dipped significantly. But what I do see that I think is more evidence for your point that it's sort of unexpected is that the Buick Envision, which is sort of the Buick version of it, they sell 44,000 of those a year in the US. So like, that was in 2023. And in 2024, it sold even more, 47,000. So I think that the fact that the Envision is doing so much better, and also they kind of occupy similar spaces. Like, I know that Cadillac is upmarket of Buick a little bit, but
it's
like,
supposed to be, but
at that
I think
level,
the truth is, I think the XT4 has always been kind of lackluster amongst its competitors. Like, it was fine, but nothing really stood out about it, about being like segment leading or especially cool.
Totally.
And it's interesting because this is another gas-powered crossover that's being discontinued, which is weird because we thought people love those.
Yeah, totally.
But for me, Cadillac has been really killing it with their EV SUVs.
And I think that's really the thing. I think that the fact that Cadillac, first of all, the Lyriq was a sales leader for Cadillac last year. The Optic, everybody seems to love. It's been doing, it looked similar to the XT4, but better.
It is better.
Yeah.
And they occupy the same kind of segment where the size anyway.
Yeah,
the
totally.
the Optic is obviously a bit more expensive, but not like not too expensive where it's like prohibitively expensive.
And that's really the exciting thing about Cadillac's EVs is that they seem to be super affordable.
They're really, really affordable. And that is something we never say because all cars are expensive these days.
Yeah.
So for us to go and like the Lyriq is affordable, the Optic is affordable.
Yeah.
Even the Vistic is pretty affordable for what it is,
Totally.
right? And they're all really good.
Yeah.
They're packed with features and good stuff too, like Super Cruise.
Totally. And the interiors are so, like the XT4, I sat in it at the Toronto Auto Show. I was so impressed by, first of all, they have very colorful interiors, a great mix of materials. Like there's some metal, there's some cloth in there doing interesting stuff. It reminds me of a living room. Like it doesn't, it's not all one thing. It's not all black and it's not like sporty carbon fiber. It's like, nice materials that you kind of want to touch.
Yeah, and they're like very thoughtfully designed. Yeah. So I think Cadillac's EVs are really outshining their gas-powered vehicles right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they're just moving on. Yeah. I think the XT4, it makes sense. It has lived a life. And I think it makes sense that maybe they just don't like, with the Optic, they just don't see, and the Envision, they just don't see the point of making a new one.
Yeah, it makes sense. And that leads us to our next one, which is the Cadillac XT6, which is their kind of 3-row family SUV.
Yeah, and another victim, I think same story. The Vistic just came in. Dan reviewed it. He did the first drive.
Thought it was great.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with the interior, very thoughtfully designed. Yeah, similar sales to the XT4, surprisingly. Very stably running at 20,000 units a year in the US. This one seems to be doing well in China as well, but I think one of its biggest problems was that people love the Lincoln Aviator way more than they liked the XT6.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. So I've driven both, and the XT6 was fine, but for a luxury vehicle, I want better than fine.
Totally.
And the Lincoln Aviator felt a lot more high-end, a lot more special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, the XT6 was just kind of average.
Yeah, kind of forgettable, and especially with Cadillac making a big move into EVs. And also, like, Cadillac has a 3-row internal combustion SUV, and it's called the Escalade, and it sells in huge numbers. So, I mean, it's obviously more expensive and bigger. But, like, if you can either have the Vistic or you can have the Escalade, and, like, where does that leave the XT6, really?
Yeah, I mean, especially a name like the Escalade, it has so much, like, brand equity built into it.
Totally.
So, like, they could sell those with their eyes closed. But a lot of their other vehicles, they don't have that same, like, historical significance.
Totally.
So it's like, we're not, like, people aren't emotionally attached to them. So, like, whatever.
And, yeah, whenever you see an XT, like, have you ever seen an XT6? I've never noticed one. It's like, I'm sure I've seen them around, but they're very forgettable.
They just kind of like slide in traffic unnoticed, which is fine. That's but chill. Like, we're looking for excellence here, right?
Totally. Yeah, and Lincoln really upped its game. Like I remember not that long ago, they really felt like Fords with some chrome tape on them, and all of a sudden they've done a really good job.
Their stuff is really beautiful these days.
Totally.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Okay,
so we're going to be moving on to the Genesis G80 Electrified.
Yes.
Another sedan,
which this one just...
Really unfortunate because it has the downside of being a sedan, like a big sedan, which not a lot of people are buying, but also being a full EV, which makes it very expensive.
And a full luxury, like an expensive luxury EV from not one of the big 3 German brands, which is like a really hard sell. You know how many sold in Canada last year, but it was 7. It's like
in the whole country.
In the whole country, 7 people got one last year. So you have a very rare car in your hand. And like, if you did any customization, it's probably unique, you know?
Something weirdly tells me that all 7 of those people are Genesis executives.
That's a really good point. I didn't consider that, but probably. But the funny thing about it is that like people liked it.
It's a great car. Yeah. I loved it when I drove it. It was very smooth, very powerful, very luxurious.
Totally.
But the thing that always got me about it was how expensive it is compared to what else you can get.
Well, yeah, the regular G80, the internal combustion G80 starts at around 74, but the electrified one started at over $100,000, which is like, first of all, there's just like the impression of being over $100,000, which you're like, holy cow, 6 figures. And second of all, holy cow, 6 figures, that's a lot of money. And
for something that's not a Mercedes or a BMW or something.
Yeah, and like, kudos to Genesis. They make really cool cars, really pretty cars, but like, you spending 6 figures on a fancy Hyundai?
I just don't think they're there yet. I think they have the potential to go there eventually, but I think it's a little bit too soon. I just don't think people are ready to like drop that kind of cash on a Genesis.
Totally. The interesting thing is I was expecting it to be not a very good EV, but when I looked at the figures, it has pretty good range. It has like high 400s in range. It's got a decent amount of power. And like, I really do believe that EV powertrains for luxury vehicles are great.
They make so much sense.
Yeah, because it's quiet. It just like wafts smooth. You. Yeah, to where you're going. So like, I do think that this is a low-key banger for the people who have it, but like, you kind of have to be a weirdo to get it. So it makes sense.
You'd have to have very particular, like you'd have to not care about brand cachet at all, which is fine. Like a lot of people, you want a nice thing, but they don't want to like shout to the world that they're money bags.
A lot of baggage that comes with a Mercedes badge. You know, that makes a lot of sense.
So it's a great vehicle. But yeah, the fact that only 7 of them sold last year in the country is not great news.
We all got up with one voice and said, no, no thanks.
We have another sedan, the Infiniti Q50, which is leaving us.
Yeah, which technically 2024 was the last model year. It was the last sedan in Infiniti's lineup. It was bound to go. 864. Did better than the G80 electrified, but 864 sold in Canada last year. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I think it just makes a ton of sense. It was fine, it seems like, but it's just old. And
I mean, what's more surprising than that is that the QX50 and the 55 in Infiniti's lineup, which are 2, let's call them like compact luxury crossovers, are being gone too. And that's surprising because I thought that was a very popular segment. But I guess these ones were quite old.
Also not doing that well. So introduced in 2022 for the 2022 model year. That was the QX55. So it's not that old. The QX50 only introduced in 2019. Again, not that old. But they just didn't find their audience. 800 sold in Canada. Sorry, the 800 QX50s sold in Canada last year. 320 QX55s sold in Canada last year. And Nissan America's product planning boss, Pons Panditathira, said that he just thinks that buyers will be satisfied with the QX60 and the QX65, which is coming soon, which will be their that crossover coupe. He told Automotive News that you might lose some very deal-focused, lower-end consumers. That feels like a shot. But that's really not what we're planning to do with Infiniti as a brand. And to be fair, the QX60 looks pretty fancy pants. The QX65 looks good. But again, this is sort of that, I think that this is evidence of product planning that happened sort of a few years ago when premium was the biggest, the biggest thing you could do to sell cars, and affordability wasn't that big a focus. And it does feel weird at this moment to be giving up an entry-level luxury crossover, which is like a really high volume segment, especially for Infiniti, which is like, again, same problem as Genesis. I don't think that people are going to an Infiniti dealership if they can afford a Mercedes or a BMW or whatever
But
else.
what's left? Does that mean the QX60 will be the most affordable model in their lineup?
That's a really good question. Yeah, it's a really small. It's a really
very small lineup now.
Yeah, hold on.
I mean, it goes all the way up to the QX80. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because we're running short on time. We still got lots of cars to go through.
Lots of cars to go through.
Okay, so Lexus, RC, and RCF. Again, not surprised.
Not surprising.
Coupes.
Introduced in 2015, just an old car at this point. Sales peaked in 2015 at around 14,000. Last year, they sold 1,800 in the U.S., so just steadily declining sales. Makes sense in the luxury performance car segment. You know, there's the M4 that's coming out frequently, or the 4 Series that's coming out frequently. So, like, it's constantly pushing the bar up. And if you have a car that's 10 years old, it's hard to keep up with all of the tech, all of the features that people are expecting. And actually, it looks like Lexus is giving up both of its coupes because the LC has also been rumored to be going soon. And that one's even older, I think. That one's like really old.
Yeah, and it's also very expensive, right? So it's like a very high-end luxury Grand Tour. Looks beautiful,
Looks great.
V8.
Yeah.
Great car, but again, very limited audience for that kind of stuff.
Testament to the design department. It was like they found a really good design that has lasted through the years. But again, I think it's just a question of how long can a sports coupe stay in the luxury segment. And it looks like there will be replacements coming for those. At least the LC, the Lexus released the electrified coupe concept car not that long ago. So that looks like they're just planning on making those vehicles sort of more electrified.
Which makes a lot of sense for Lexus, I think, because every single vehicle in their lineup, except for the ones that were being discontinued, are available with hybrid or electric powertrains, right?
Totally. Yeah. And it's just a hard sell to do big V8 engines at this point. Global emission standards being what they are, it's just harder and harder to keep those in the market. The next one really surprised me, the Kia Soul.
I'm not that surprised by it. I think because like nobody knew what it was. Like it's hard to explain to somebody, and I think when people are confused, it like stops them from buying it.
That's a really fair point. Although everybody who drove it really liked it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's very practical.
Yeah, Jill McIntosh writing for us said it has matured wonderfully with the 2023 Kia Soul, feeling more upscale than many competitors and with an unmistakable presence on the road. It may be small, but it makes a large impression. Which, like, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially at a time when affordability is a big question. I think it kind of sucks to see another affordable sort of like, yeah, is it a car? Is it a crossover? It's a car. But, like, you know, it kind of has that boxy proportion.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, its sales have fallen significantly. Between 2011 and 2018, it was consistently selling over 10,000 units in Canada, which is pretty good. But it has fallen off in recent years. I think the problem is the Seltos is sort of like eating its lunch.
Yep, and the Seltos you can have with all-wheel drive, which the Soul was not available with.
And it's pretty affordable. And if you're really focused on affordability, now there's the K4, which will soon be available in a hatchback. So, like, if you're looking for the practical thing, I guess you just got to go for a K4. And maybe Kia did the math and thought like one affordable sedan is all they need, or whatever hatchback is all they need. So.
Yeah. So there just wasn't room in the lineup for it, which makes sense.
Sad to see it go, though. Pour one out for the Soul.
EV6 GT is also leaving. So this is the kind of hot hatch version of the EV. So the EV6 is staying, but not the sporty version.
Which I think, you know, it did its job. It proved that Kia can make a fun, the Hyundai Group in general, Kia Hyundai, to make like an exciting, fast EV. But I just don't think it was like special enough, especially when you look at the Ioniq 5N, which is like has the fun sound. It looks really flashy and cool.
Yeah, it's a lot more. It has a lot more gimmicks to hang its hat on, right?
Totally. And like when you looked at the price and you looked at it's a Kia, you think like, "Oh, who's going to buy that?" But I have seen a couple of those around, which is like surprising to me, kind of awesome, kind of rad. I got to drive one recently, and like I thought that the brrr sound was going to be stupid, but I kind of liked it.
And that thing rips.
That thing does rip. Yeah, absolutely. I took a drive in, like I was a passenger in it with one of the Hyundai TCR, the touring car drivers, and like a pro driver, and it like he whipped it around an autocross course, and I nearly lost my lunch by the end of the drive. He was really riding on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Jennifer Schmilko told us that demand for the EV6 is just more focused on volume trims. I think it just makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mercedes EQB, kind of a surprising vehicle that's being discontinued. It is a kind of mid-sized to compact.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
EV, and it has an optional third row. So, you know, I always thought it was a very practical choice for people. And it's not that old.
Yeah, introduced for model year 2022, so really not that old. Yes, I think so. This one is going, but as far as I can tell, it's not going permanently. So I think that what's happening is, so it's based on the GLB, which is their sort of internal combustion version. And the GLB is a little older. It's been around for more of a full life cycle. So it's being discontinued, and it will be replaced by, you know, a next generation GLB that's based on the same platform as the GLA, I believe. So I think that what's happening is the GLB will have an electric counterpart, but Mercedes is dropping the EQ branding. So it won't be the EQB. It'll be, I think what they're going to call it is the GLB EQ technology, because they have found that the EQB, EQA thing, it's just not going that well for them. And like, you can see that in the sales figures for like other EQ models. They did well initially, but they're kind of not doing that well anymore. I think probably doesn't help that they look a bit soapy. They look a little bit like a bar of soap.
I hate their designs.
Yeah. Hard to defend those ones.
Yeah. So kind of surprising to see that one go. But I'm interested to see its successor.
Yeah. So I think
because it is coming.
I think that there will be a successor. So don't worry, Mom. My mom was kind of interested in an EQB. And I was like, I think that's a cool car for you. I think that's awesome. You should go for it, Mom. Next, really different car. Nissan GTR. Finally going.
I mean, that thing is old as hell, but it is so cool.
So cool. But so the first model year was 2009, but it's been in production since 2007. So it's been in production for 18 years.
Without many updates.
Yeah, with like more or less the same car.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, it's had some like facelifts and stuff, but like the same fundamental car. And that's so old for a car. But still super fast, still super fun. People still love it. But yeah, between 2010 and 2017, Nissan sold 1,000 GTRs a year in North America. But then in 2018, people just lost interest and they went down to 500 or less every year since then. And I think it made sense. I think it's just harder and harder to defend.
Especially at that snack bracket, you have so many options, right?
Totally.
So yeah, I get it.
Sorry, snack bracket?
Snack bracket, like in that like income bracket.
I've never heard that
really
before. That's really fun. I like that a lot.
I like snacks.
Yeah, and I think that also like one of its big like killer apps was how fast it accelerated
at the time.
At the time, because it was like a lot of horsepower, 4-wheel drive, and like double clutch gearbox, and it would just like rip from 0 to 30.
And at that time, no one else was doing that. Like all-wheel drive supercars were a very rare thing at that time. Now everyone is doing that, so
and
it's just not as special as it used to be.
EVs can like do the same thing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Moving on to Porsche. So Porsche Macan gas. So the Porsche Macan EV came out. And they were supposed to be selling both of them side by side. But now the gas model is supposed to be discontinued for this year.
Yes.
Along with the 718 Boxster and Spider, which, you know, two of the best sports cars ever. I love them so much.
Yeah. this is, another interesting one. So the Macan was introduced for model year 2015, still on sale with, like, obviously they've updated it, but same generation. Interestingly, it's been, so since 2015, been Porsche's bestseller, really stable sales. In fact, it had record sales in 2023, and in 2024, sales were a little bit worse, but not much. Still selling really, really well. I think that this one is just the generation cycle is ending. They wanted to introduce a new one. Porsche set a goal of having 80% of its vehicles be electric by 2030. So I think that explains the decision to go all electric with the Macan. However, in 2024, Taycan sales fell by half, 49%. So I think that they've had a bit of a panic.
Right.
And now there are rumors that they're going to keep the Macan, or they're going to introduce another internal combustion Macan, because, like, that's such a huge driver of sales for them.
It's massive for them to have, especially when they came out with their, like, entry-level kind of 4-cylinder one.
Yes.
People were buying the crap out of that, right?
It makes a lot of sense. You get a Porsche badge, and, like, you get a Porsche interior. It still looks really great.
Yeah. So that one I think was in the fake news category. I think it's gonna come back. I'd like to see it come back, but like, especially with the sports cars, you know, with the EV goals and them scaling back, I really wonder if they're going to try to make room for the 718s to live a little bit longer.
Yeah, I do think the 718 is a really interesting one, because I think it is more of a pure sports car than the 911 is these days.
100%. I would hands down get a 718 came in over a 911 if I could afford it.
Yeah. Big caveat. But I think it has less brand cachet. They can't
That's also
mess
true.
with the 911.
It's just so iconic.
It's just so iconic. I think from like a segment positioning point of view, the 911 is a little bit more of a grand tour. So to me, history aside, it kind of makes more sense to electrify the 911 than it does to electrify the 718.
Yeah.
But because the branding on the 911 is so, and like the fans are so like angry, let's be honest, I think they can't electrify the 911, but they can get away with electrifying the 718. So it'll be interesting to see what that one's like.
So you're thinking a fully electric sports car is going to replace them? I mean, that was what they were saying would happen.
Well, it's just, and I think that it's a like, that makes less sense to me. Like, what we've seen in the past decade or so is that larger EVs make more sense, or it's easier to hide the electrification in a larger vehicle than it is to hide the electrification in a smaller vehicle.
Right, because batteries are so heavy.
And you remember when EVs were first coming out, they were all pretty small. There was like the smart car EV,
right.
There's all these things, and the mini EV, but they kind of didn't make sense because you just can't stuff enough batteries in them to get the range that's really necessary for them to be anything but a city car.
Right.
So I think it'll be, and like with a sports car, you think like, oh, you don't need to be driving around the city in a sports car, but like if you want to do more than one lap, you need big batteries.
Right.
So like I think if anybody can tackle it, it's Porsche, but also I think it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And I think I am not an internal combustion, like, I want to see more things go EV. I think let's go EV. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not weeping for V8s. I'm not weeping for even like, anything. I don't want to see V10s come back. I don't want to see V8s come back. I think we should go electrification. However, with the 718, like, doesn't it kind of make sense for it to be a gas car just because like with where we're at? So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. They are panicking about their electrification. It seems like the sales aren't going as well as they are. So like, and there are a lot of rumors coming out that they're going to retain the internal combustion engines. I wonder how long that'll take, and if Porsche can like pivot that quickly and make a next generation Macan or a next generation 718 that's up to their standards and just throw a gas engine in there. Like,
I kind of bet that that's where they're going. I'm Anyway, this is a topic for another episode.
Yeah, totally.
But I think if anyone can do it, Porsche can do it. Their fan base is so loyal that I don't think they would have a problem selling anything they put their badge on.
Totally.
But another vehicle in the fake news category was the Chevrolet Blazer, the gas-powered model. So that was weirdly rumored to be discontinued, but it will be available for 2026, and it's also slated for a refresh in 2027. So not only will it live on, it will be improved for many years to come. So that one is staying with us.
I think that makes sense. It's a volume vehicle.
And then I think the last ones we should talk about, because we're definitely running out of time, are the Volvos. Ugh. So we're going to be losing two wagons, right? So the Volvo V60 Cross Country and the V60 Polestar Engineered, which is the plug-in hybrid version. That means Volvo only has one wagon left, which is the V90 Cross Country, which is so sad.
It's really sad. Volvo is such a wagon company to me. And like every time I see a V90 or a V60 driving around, I'm like, that's cool.
I'm like, you go.
Yeah, you go, girl. That's awesome. And to be honest, I like Volvo's vehicles. I really want to support them on their EVs, but all indications are that they are trying to release the next generation of EVs before they're ready.
Yes.
The EX90 on the first drive with Dan was like, it's not ready. Fine. On your drive also, you had the same problems.
That was 9 months after. They had all that time to fix those problems, and that car was just not ready.
Yeah.
Just not ready.
And it seems to be the same issue with the EX30 that Dan drove.
That one was a little bit more put together.
Yeah.
But again, Volvo is another one of those brands that went all in on EVs and is needing to scale back those plans a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what comes from Volvo.
Big ambitions.
Yeah. But before our Ask an Expert section, here's a message from your friends at AutoTrader. Having trouble finding your perfect car at the perfect price? The answer is AutoTrader. Car prices are dropping across Canada, and AutoTrader has hundreds of thousands of new and used cars to choose from. Get a great deal on your perfect car by visiting AutoTrader today. We don't have an Ask an Expert, but I'm going to take this time to remind you all to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We just hit a big milestone of 70,000 subscribers, but I'm on my way to 100K, and I need your help to do it. So please do us a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We published some really interesting content in the last 2 weeks.
Some really great.
Really different stuff that we've never done before. Yes. So I'm trying a new documentary style of automotive journalism that I hope will appeal to people who don't care about cars or do care about cars. I think you would enjoy this stuff either way.
And because Jodi won't say it, they turned out so well. She did such a good job. They're so good. And they're really both interesting, a little bit left field for us, but super great content, and I think really entertaining, but also meaningful in both cases.
Thank you so much. In one of the videos, I interview the first woman in the world to be a certified Porsche Classic technician. I think that is a crazy cool accomplishment.
That's really
And her
cool.
story is so inspiring, so I hope you guys like it.
Totally.
And the other one is I learned to ride a dirt bike after failing my motorcycle exam 13 years ago. So I did something that was really scary to me. And we documented the whole thing. So you can see me, completely dump a dirt bike
and pick yourself back up.
That's the whole point of that.
And true story, I'm going to be looking at dirt bike classes next year because that looked like so much fun.
It was actually so much fun.
And I'm too scared to ride a motorcycle on the street, but on the dirt.
That's kind of why I wanted to do it on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Because falling in the dirt, it hurts a lot less than falling on pavement.
Totally.
And I don't trust drivers. So if you're in a dirt field or, and you're just
on
kicking
your own,
around,
bombing
it's
around.
way safer.
Yeah, totally. It's super inspiring. I want to do that too now.
Amazing.
I want to be like Jodi when I grow up.
Oh, little me? But if you guys have questions you would like to ask us, you can email expert@trader.ca. You can ask anything you want, car questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. You can ask us very prying personal questions if you want to. Don't guarantee they'll answer them, but you can ask them.
Go for it.
But we love making car stuff simple. So if we can help you out in any way, make sure to email expert@trader.ca. But that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Drive safe, and we'll see you next time.